Democratic Party presidential candidate Bernie Sanders is heading to Phoenix, Arizona this weekend to address the Netroots Nation Conference, a large annual gathering of progressives. After that, he'll speak at the major convention center in Phoenix that only weeks ago was filled with 5,000 Americans supporting the bigotry-tainted campaign of Donald Trump. Already 3,000 people have registered to see Sanders, which is not surprising given that he has drawn the largest crowds to date of any presidential candidate from any political party. Sanders has surprised both the right and the left with his ascension, mostly because he's been willing to articulate simple yet specific solutions to the problem of wealth inequality. He wants to increase taxes on the wealthy, while his closest rival, Hillary Clinton, has touted tax credits for middle-class families. Sanders has openly talked about wealth redistribution being far more important than growth, while Clinton, unwilling to shift on the Democratic Party neoliberal orthodoxy, has insisted that wage growth must go hand in hand with economic growth. What Democrats fear is that Sanders will pull Clinton so far to the left that she will be an unviable candidate in the 2016 general election. Republicans have been openly happy about Sanders possibly having such an impact. But before the lesser of two evils logic starts tamping down Democratic desires, the question remains, is Bernie Sanders the candidate that Americans have been waiting for? Joining me to help answer that question is Mimi Kennedy. She's an actor who rose to fame with her role as Abby O'Neill on ABC's Dharma and Greg. She stars as Marjorie Armstrong in the CBS sitcom Mom. Her film credits include Erin Brockovich, Midnight in Paris, and The 5-Year Engagement. She's also a longtime progressive activist and currently the board chair of Progressive Democrats of America. And she recently hosted Sanders' campaign stop in Southern California. Welcome to Uprising, Mimi.
Thank you, Sonali. It's an honor to be here.
Thanks so much for joining us. Well, a certain sector of the Democratic Party has been counting on Hillary Clinton as the nominee and eventually president for a long time, I mean, since 2008, mostly because she's a woman and she carries this veneer of liberal politics. But are you throwing your support behind Bernie Sanders?
Yes, because we've been working for a candidate like Bernie Sanders as a progressive Democrat. I guess it was since the year 2000 when I really think that the country was driven into a ditch by a drunk driver. I just thought it is time to step up. Things have to change. And I was concentrating as I could on the peace movement locally, Office of the Americas, Blaise Montaigne, trying to act on what I had always thought. And by 2004, Dennis Kucinich had asked me to help with his campaign because of the Department of Peace. And I wouldn't compare, by the way, the two candidacies. That's the only way I'm going to mention Dennis's name. But those were bleak days for our country. So Progressive Democrats of America started in 2004 when John Kerry, was not going to carry opposition to the war as central to his campaign. And how beautifully that's actually turned out just recently. He made a statement going, "This is who I always was, the guy who made this deal," and talked and talked and talked with our supposed enemies until we now
You're talking about the Iran nuclear deal.
A hand of at least verifiable cooperation. But at any rate, Progressive Democrats of America, formed by Tim Carpenter, decided to change the Democratic Party from the inside. And we would go to these conventions. I was just telling you off camera about some of those, and working locally, in Democratic clubs and stuff, to just come in and invite progressives in and younger people in and women in, on the theory that if we're the party's candidates will change. And voila. What's interesting is Bernie wasn't even in the Democratic Party.
Right. He's been an independent senator in
That's
Vermont.
Right.
And
caucusing with the Democrats.
Right.
They all know him.
Yeah.
He's not been a maniac rogue person like, say, Donald Trump. But he is an independent.